Boom, shakalaka boom. You're tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio, your girlfriend's favorite talk show. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I have, of course, Clay Edwards. We're the radio show she told you not to worry about. We're live in the WYAB studios, we'll call it, until we get a studio sponsor. It'll be the buyfafo.com studios. If you're watching us online in 4K right now, I have on a lovely FAFO Fool Around and Find Out hoodie with the G.I. Joe logo on. It can be purchased at buyfafo.com. Running a special right now. I've got about 25 extra of the Real Men Wear Pink edition, pink ribbon FAFO shirts. And if you buy anything on the website, you can get a pink FAFO ribbon. Pink ribbon, it's a black shirt with a pink ribbon on it. You can get that for $15, 50% off with the promo code PINK. So need to get rid of those. Don't want to get stuck with a bunch of, limited edition shirts after Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm still donating the money. I got 50 shirts printed. And I'm donating $500 to charity. That doesn't change regardless of how many I sell, but it will sure help me out a little bit if you could help me get across the finish line and pick up the rest of these shirts from me. Use the code PINK when you buy anything on the website at buyfafo.com, and you will get a breast cancer edition Real Men Wear Pink version FAFO shirt for $15. That's half price. All right, I've got the morning host here, the 6A to 7A. I think I do the morning show. Mr. Bishop here does the morning show.
the real early morning.
The real early morning show. We got Mr. Bishop in here. Matthew Bishop, host of The Full Story right here on WYAB, 6A to 7A. And he's filled in probably more times than he wanted to on the Clay Edwards show here lately.
I love 3 hours.
3 hours is a lot, man. I mean this is a compliment. You're slow and methodical.
Right.
I mean, like you really break down the details, and you do a ton of show. I've seen your show notes.
Yeah.
My show notes are a blurb and a link. You print all yours out and like really put effort into it. And,
yeah.
I mean, not that I don't, but you do a different level for sure. So yeah. I'm like, he can go 3 hours.
I can hear myself talk for 3 hours too. It's like, as a good radio host, I love hearing myself talk.
As you should. As you should. Oh, so look, one of the reasons I held you over here is because I'm pulling up my notes here. Bear with me. Mm-hmm. There was quite the conspiracy, and it's amazing how quick this got debunked yesterday. But the Atlantic dropped an article about Donald Trump saying that he wished he had generals like Hitler had. And when I first heard it, even if it had been true, because I was driving when I first heard it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what I rationalized in my brain, and I even ended up on the phone with Sean before I got home and could dive into this.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, he's kind of got a point there. I mean, those dudes were loyal.
They were loyal.
Don't get me wrong. I know Sean reminded me, they did try to kill him too. I'm like, well, look, you're going to have that on big jobs.
Right.
But there was a few that wrote it to the very end with him.
Yeah.
And we all need some people like that on our team.
Right.
Can we not talk about some of the good things Hitler did?
Well, I think, and to me, it's not necessarily here, but the German army. There's no doubt that the German army did in World War II. Until we got involved, they were kicking butt in Europe. Until they try to do a two-front war. You can't discount the lethality of the German army. Until I think Hitler's the one who kind of ruined it more than anybody, because compared to the generals there. Heck, they took over most of Europe and were on the door of Soviet Union before we had to go kick butt over there.
Yeah, obviously I'm kidding about the good things Hitler did. I don't want that to be taken out of context there. But
get canceled.
If you just look at it from a strategic military, what they were able to accomplish towards their goal, they really did a lot over there. Mm-hmm. You have to look at it and say, how did they make that much progress before they finally did get stopped? It's pretty phenomenal.
Right. It's Japan as well, right? Like they're both brutal. They're able to get a lot of victories throughout the time until, again, we had to come and disrupt it for them and ruin their days. But if you don't respect an enemy, then you're in the wrong place, right? You have to be able to respect someone's capabilities without. It's not saying I agree with them, but you have to at least respect what they've been able to do.
Well, I think that's what Trump says when he talks about Putin and Kim Jong-un or Il, whichever the Kim Jongs is in charge.
One of the Kims.
He's like, hey, these aren't dumb people.
No.
I mean, these are smart people, and it's okay to acknowledge that the enemy is intelligent.
Yeah. I say the same thing about the Democratic Party all the time. They've made some very intelligent things. I've said until the last couple of weeks, I think Kamala Harris is their biggest mistake. But running this election, they've outsmarted Republicans in a lot of ways. It's all about you have to respect your enemy in order to be able to try to defeat them.
Yeah, I've got a bookmark right here. Let me pull this up. There's supposed to be, now look, consider the source here. There's supposed to be a big story breaking today about Kamala that could deep six her campaign. This is from George Santos.
Oh no, good old George.
George Santos.
Haven't heard from him in a minute.
But this was last night on X.
Oh, hey guys. Gotta tell you something. It's so crazy. I just got off the phone with a source, and they're telling me that tomorrow the Kamala Harris ship sinks. You're going to see all the rats jumping off. The story that's going to break tomorrow is so damning and so bad that Democrats are going to distance themselves from her like something you've never seen before. And essentially, you might even see some asking for people to vote for Trump. This is wild. Stay tuned as this drops tomorrow.
Now, I don't know any context to this or anything, but I did see Jack Posobiec, however you say his name, said White House, and then it said it's over.
Right. Well, here's the thing: George Santos is a I think a known liar, but that's not the point. I think here is that people have been rats jumping off a ship for a while now. I talked on my show this morning about the poll numbers and how over the last couple of weeks, especially, she has been dropping in polls. I mean, almost every single day. I don't know what big news he's talking about, but I think people have been rats jumping off the ship for at least the last couple of weeks. They've been seeing her in person and seeing how she interacts and how much she's failed in these interviews that are supposed to be very friendly to her. So I think rats have been jumping off the ship for a couple of weeks now.
Well, I've got this little audio clip here too. CNN, Dana Bash, is that her name?
Dana Bash. Dana. Yeah.
Dana jumped off the ship after the town hall last night. Have you heard this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you play this on your show?
I didn't play this clip, but it's a good clip though if you can play it.
Yeah, we got 45 seconds here. This is CNN jumping off the wagon. Apparently, Kamala did a CNN town hall last night.
She did,
and it was so bad.
It was horrible
that CNN has pretty much said it's over.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more. But what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one. Some more of her personality and her sort of character questions about your weaknesses or what mistakes did you make? Not necessarily the answers there.
Yeah, she is in fact being held to a different standard, a much lower one.
Especially by the media. Well, that's the crazy thing. We talk about Dana, and Dana, of course, had the very first sit-down interview with Kamala Harris. After weeks of not taking one, Dana was the first one. And Dana tried to give her softballs in that very first interview, including one on fracking, and she just completely failed. Surprised Dana. I'll never forget it. Seeing Dana's face is like, oh, okay, you were against fracking in 2019. Now you say you're for it. What's changed? She said, oh, I've always been for fracking. And Dana's like, no, you weren't. What are you talking about? We have clips, and we've seen that time again. I played, she had a sit down with NBC News, Haley, I can't remember Haley's last name, but it was the same thing. It was supposed to be a simple interview where they throw her softballs, and she fails at the softballs.
It's phenomenal.
And that throws the journalist off. Like, I'm trying to help you here. What are you doing? And same thing with the town hall last night with Anderson Cooper was, they played a lot into her, what she wants, talking bad about Trump, but there was nothing about policy. There was nothing about what she's going to do. And I think that's what Dana's talking about there, is that it's the same thing. People are tired of hearing rhetoric. They hear rhetoric all the time about Trump being a fascist and everything else. Obviously, he's had 2 assassination attempts against him, one coming within inches of succeeding. And people are like, wait a minute, like, who's the actual bullies in this situation? Is it Donald Trump, or is it people calling someone a fascist?
100%. And I mean, on that note, well, Yeah, I can do two things at once here. Let me see. Let me pull up this. This is a tweet from Kamala Harris. I mean, we talk about ratcheting up the rhetoric.
Yeah.
This is from Kamala. She goes, Donald Trump is out for unchecked power. He wants a military like Adolf Hitler had, who will be loyal. He wants a military like Adolf Hitler had, who will be loyal to him, not our Constitution. He is unhinged, unstable. Given a second term, there would be no one to stop him from pursuing his worst impulses. And I told you before we went on air, it finally dawned on me why they're doing this. Mm-hmm. And it's not because they think they're going to sway anybody at the last minute to vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, sure, they hope that. I mean, in the back of their minds, right? But I think they're setting up to not transition power.
Yeah.
And this is going to be their excuse. He's a fascist. He's Hitler. Apparently he's a commie fascist.
Yeah, which is it's kind of,
I didn't know you could be both.
You can't be both.
But these are the same people who tell you that you can be trans.
Right. So that's right. You can be whatever you want to identify as. That's right.
You can be a trans dictator, half communist, half fascist. Apparently.
That's right.
But because they said he's Mussolini, he's Hitler, he's this, he's that. I'm like, well, hold on, you can't be both. But never mind. Yes, you can with the Democrats.
That's
you
right.
can, in fact, be both. You can be tri.
Be tri. That's right.
You can be tri-trans.
Tri-trans.
But I think they're setting it up for to not transition power.
They're definitely setting groundwork, right?
And I don't know what the Constitution would allow them not to do that. I mean, because I was told they were going to drag Trump out of the White House, but the military was going to arrest him and remove his from the White, all the stuff they said after January 6th.
Yeah.
When they said Trump would not transition power, and he just walked right out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they've been setting the groundwork for this for a while. Now they're upping the rhetoric. Obviously, they've done the lawfare with the political persecutions in court, trying to put him in jail essentially before he can. I mean, clearly you can see that, right? And trying to convict him and everything like that. But again, it's starting to fail because people are like, I get it, but groceries are still high, right? I can't afford my grocery that used to cost $35 costs $85 now. And they're starting to lose that thing there. And maybe it's gotten to that point, like you're saying, that it's the point of no return. They started looking at other avenues because they cannot lose this election. They've gotten way too far. There's obviously been election interference. They're going to be prosecuted for it. And so there's losing is just not an option for them, and maybe that means doing it in other means, like you talk about. By
any means necessary. You got time to do another segment?
Yeah, I got time.
Let's take a break real quick, and I want to circle back to the original point of this. That's the Atlantic article, and the live time debunking of this thing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
What happened to the Atlantic yesterday? Which, if y'all don't know, the Atlantic is owned by the widow of Steve Jobs, one of Kamala's best friends.
Yep.
All right, this is the Clay Edwards Show. We're joined in the studio this morning by the host of The Full Story, Mr. Matt Bishop. We will be right back after this break. If you're watching online, we ain't going nowhere. We'll read some of your chats in there. If you want to call in this morning, the Mazda Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. We'll be right back.
Right. Yeah. If you ever show me how to do this, I can always do it. If you're out, that way, if I have to fill in, that way you're not missing content.
Cool.
That way, so you just keep having the shows.
Yeah.
So there's not like a gap.
What
in
I would
shows.
love to do is we're all live, by the way. What I would love to do is be able to just hit a button and do it from my house.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But there's days
driving up here.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Let's see here, man. Let's jump in and read a couple chats here
Alrighty.
this morning. Thank everybody for watching. Hit that share button wherever you're watching at. It goes a long way. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, drop a comment, hit the bell for notifications. All that good stuff that us filthy content creators ask you to do. They do it because it works. Let's see here. Jeffrey says, good morning. Steve says, Donald Trump is a legend. Donald Trump is a Mick legend. Zane says, everyone is just tired of the media reporting it's a 50-50 tie currently. Report it correctly. If someone is even 5% lower, report it. It's not a 50-50 tie. I think for all intents and purposes, this is going to be a McTrump landslide unless they pull some shenanigans.
Yeah. Well, I covered this on my show in the beginning this morning of what the poll numbers are, right? And so, national polls have it pretty close right now. Trump's at a 2-point lead, but one thing we have to remember is that Trump always performs better than the polls.
Yep.
That was Hillary Clinton's biggest problem in 2016 was she listened to the polls and she pretty much stopped campaigning the last 2 weeks, and then there's a Trump landslide. But all the battleground states right now, Trump and Harris are right at even for most of them. But again, people have a hard time saying they support Trump. I know the people in the comments section are more than proud to do it, but a lot of people are afraid to do it because you get ostracized if you support Trump. You are a pariah. You're this racist, bigot, whatever, fascist, whatever word they can put in there. But as Nixon said in his campaign, is that there's a silent majority that wins out, and that's the same thing with Donald Trump.
Yeah, they've tried to shame everybody. They continue to use these big, evil, historically evil words and phrases to describe Trump and Trump supporters. And you don't want – there's a lot – I don't mind if you call me a racist, fascist, Nazi, homophobe, transphobe, any of that. It doesn't bother me a bit.
Right.
I'm rubber, you're glue. What bounces off me sticks on you. But there's a lot of people out there that it does bother.
Right.
And that allows guys like us to get up here and kind of be the voice of the voiceless, so to say. It doesn't bother me, but I agree with you 100%. If it's tied – or he's even got a small lead. Imagine how large that lead actually is.
Yeah, and like I said, if you look at, like you said, it's dead even in a lot of these so-called polls right now. And if Trump were to get those, which again looks in his favor, he's over at 300. He's over 300 electoral votes. It's not even going to be a close election. Which some pollsters have said. Karl Rove has said that for the last couple months. At first, I was a little question of that because it's always a close election. As long as it's a free and fair election, which is the big caveat for all of these. Free and fair. Trump has it's definitely in his favor. And I talked to my show 2 days ago about the Vegas odds, which I always find interesting. And the Vegas odds have shifted over to Trump as well. And if there's anybody who cares about winning, it's going to be people who bet on it. So,
what about do you pay any attention to the poly market stuff?
A few, yeah.
I mean, like Trump's got a 69% lead or something like that.
Exactly, yeah,
massive lead.
Yeah, like I said, that's why I said the polls are interesting, but the betting odds are even more interesting to me.
Yeah, me too.
Just because of those people. They're really great statisticians that are involved in that.
They take emotion out of it.
Exactly. They take emotion. It's all business. It's what can I make? But and what they look at, it's not just polling, right? It's looking at that national momentum. It's looking at how people are feeling, how the country's feeling. So it's taking in more factors than just a poll, which is asking people their opinion. Yeah. Which, again, it makes it, I don't know, it makes it, I think, sometimes more accurate.
I agree 100%. Let's see here, running down the comments. We got about a minute before we go back. Liberals are filthy liars on X says, what if there was never a more honest screen name. Says, let me be clear. I was brought up in a middle-class household, and I know a Hitler when I see a Hitler.
Oh.
So
just like Kamala was brought up in the middle class.
Channeling their inner Kamala, I see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Let's see here.
Was their parent also a professor?
Yes.
And did they live in Canada for the most part of their early life?
Matt, you have a fan. Amy says she loves Matt. So we got a Matt fan in here. Good morning, everybody. All right, guys, we're getting ready to come back. We're going to have about 30 seconds of silence here, and we'll pick back up on the other side. Let me talk to the men out there listening real quick. Guys, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction, fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances? Hey, low libido, ask your girlfriend or wife. She'll let you know if you're suffering from that or not. That's sex drive. If you'll text my name, Clay, in all caps to 601-327-8550, 601-327-8550, Men's Health of Mississippi and the Clay Edwards Show are going to hook you up with a free testosterone screening. They're located in Madison, Mississippi at 120 Fountains Boulevard. You can check them out online, menshealthms.com. But one more time, text my name, all caps, Clay, to 601-327-8550 and get your free testosterone screening scheduled today. Enjoy the rest of this show. Welcome back in to the 30 Seconds of Silence show. Our off-air conversations bleed into the intro there. But hey, welcome back to the Clay Edwards Show with Matt Bishop here on 103.9 FM, WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends out at Shuckers on the Reservoir, guys. This Saturday night, it's the annual Shuckers Halloween Bash with so much going on. They got $2,000 in cash and not cash and prizes, $2,000 cash prizes. They're going to be doling out for the best costumes, all different categories, sexiest, funniest, best, scariest. Get out there, You got to be there by 10 p.m., signed up and entered in the contest, and you have to be present to win at midnight when they draw the win or they announce the winners or do the judging or whatever. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have to commit at least 2 hours of your night, 10 to midnight, to be in-house. Why wouldn't you?
That's 2 hours at Shuckers. That's not like you can't where else you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. What else were you planning on doing? But look, get out there. It's only $15 to get in, which when they're giving away that much money, that is not bad at all. You won't pay less than about $20 to get in. Most other places that are giving away that kind of money. So keep that in mind. Everybody knows where Shuckers is. Get your designated driver lined up. Get your Uber, your Lyft. Don't forget Shuckers has a shuttle service that runs back and forth across the reservoir. So if you live over in Flowwood, if you live over the Flowwood area over there on the 047 side of the reservoir, get in touch with Shuckers, find out about their shuttle information, and take all the driving off your plate.
Wow, I've never heard of a bar doing that before, having a shuttle service.
Yeah, they got a shuttle service, a big van. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, get in touch with them about those details. I don't want to give you any dis or misinformation there.
Yeah.
But also playing live inside is the Spunk Monkeys. They're friggin' awesome. They'll be inside on the stage, and outside on the patio is going to be the All-Stars. They play all your favorites, unplugged, acoustic, some plugged in, some not. Anyway, it's going to be a great night this Saturday. Shuckers, the big Halloween bash. Going to be all the good college football will be on the TVs, at least till the late night games are over. And then the party begins.
Yeah. What are you dressing as? What are you going as?
Radio host.
Radio host. Oh, I mean, an ugly radio host, right? Is that
very unattractive.
Face for radio host.
Very unattractive, run of the mill radio host. Let's do this. We've got our favorite local Democrat, John, calling in on the Mazda Jackson phone line. So let's hear that.
Always enjoy John.
Let's hear the spin cycle as we go here. John, you're on there.
Well, guys, what I want to tell you is Kamala Harris is winning because she was, I guess, selected in the 9th hour to succeed Joe Biden, and she's running neck and neck with the former president. So I don't think there's anything that she could do, nor Donald Trump can do, that's going to sway any of their base. So when you talk about who is she, we know who Kamala Harris is. She is tied to Joe Biden. So at the end of the day, this race is going to come down to really just turnout. It is razor thin. So I hear you guys trying to talk about she had a horrible interview, Dana Bash, people want to know who she are. My thing is keep doing what you're doing. If you're sitting there neck and neck with the former president and you were selected in the 9th inning of a game and you about to hit a walk-off home run, I wouldn't give any more information than what she's already giving. Why torpedo your campaign?
Well, John, here's some problems with what you're saying. So there's a couple of things you're saying that I agree with, but one of the big problems you have is the fact that has been a swing, right? And especially in the last couple of weeks where Kamala has been losing further in the polls. Now, she had an initial gain there right after she replaced Biden. Like you said, she was replaced in the 9th hour. She did have an initial uptick and then a little bit more of an uptick after the debate. But since then, it has been going further and further down from her. And in fact, from some of the more national polls, Trump was down 2 points just 2 weeks ago to up 2 points now. So there's a 4-point swing.
The margin of error.
Which is true. That is within the margin of error, but it's important to see that swing, right, from the same poll. So he's at a 4-point swing. So the momentum is right now behind Donald Trump. But one thing that you said that I think is decently accurate is the fact that I think a lot of this election is on the bases, right, or who can get their people out to the polls. Whether there's undecided voters or not, I don't know. That's why momentum is more important. I think there's very few so-called undecided voters just because these two candidates are so far apart from each other.
I agree 100%. That's what I've been telling Sean for the last 6 months. There's this myth of undecided voters. Right. That's just a myth.
No, I can't say, oh man, I think I could vote for Kamala Harris today and then go say, man, maybe I'll vote for Donald Trump. That's just, that person is not a thing.
This right of center, left of center doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Not in the voters' minds.
No, absolutely not. So that's why, to John's point is that who can get their people out to vote. That's why momentum matters. And that's what we look at in the polls is who has the momentum. And if Kamala Harris is losing that momentum, then her people aren't going to go out there and vote for her compared to Donald Trump's people who have, like I said, increased that momentum. You can see in his rallies and things like that the momentum is behind him. So I agree with you. That's what's going to matter. But that's where the polls come in and say who has that momentum. And right now that's Donald Trump.
Okay, well, and I would expect you to say that, but what I will tell you is this. He can't break 50%, and he's been running for 4 years. And then number two, like, again, who really has momentum? Joe Biden was really lagging in the polls. Kamala Harris comes in, and she gets a crazy bump, and she's still within the margin of error. And she's got nothing to lose here because she's a ninth inning sub that we put in, and she's still running neck and neck. So my thing, again, is I think she has the momentum because he's been running for 4 years, and he can't break 50%. Now, I'm going to ask you this. Here's a man that served in the White House for 4 years, and you can't find one general who worked for him that wants to endorse him. And that raises some serious concerns for me when your chief of staff has very disparaging and negative things to say about you.
The chief of staff right now, again, we're talking about John Kelly and his recent comments. I played on my show in the beginning.
That's General John Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Retired General John Kelly?
That's correct. Former chief of staff. So that, the whole fascist comments that he made. Kamala Harris even brought this up at her CNN sit down the other day was, why is this just coming out? It's interesting, the timing of it, 2 weeks. I agree. The Democrats cannot afford to lose this election, and they're not for paying off people. And I think the fact that he's coming out this too, he's known about this. Think about this, right? These so-called generals that you talk about, they served with him over 4 years ago, yet now they're just now coming out, like I said, 2 weeks before the election. All that timing is very, very suspicious, and I think sometimes they had a big fat check coming into their inbox getting close to this election.
Well, I would also say this, to that I have a different opinion. Frankly, it lets me know how afraid of our military I should be when none of them are loyal to a president.
Well, I can tell you, I was in the military. I just got out after.
Wait a minute. Correct him because the generals are not loyal to the president. They're loyal to the Constitution.
Well, you just said they should be loyal to the president. You find it quite amusing. You said you find it quite interesting that none of them are loyal to Trump and will support him. Supporting him is being loyal to him. So are you being hypocritical?
No, what they're saying is they don't think he's fit for the job. Now, you can come out and say that I worked with him and I do not think he's fit for the job. Now, that's different. But what they're not loyal, they're loyal to the Constitution. No, and he wants them to be loyal like Hitler's generals were loyal to Hitler. And that's why I think you're a little bit misguided. So when you listen to Donald Trump, he is not a student of history. He is not a student of history. Anybody that would disparage John McCain, a war hero, and say he's a traitor. Hero.
All right, John.
All right,
John.
We're getting off of it.
Enough of that. I will let him voice his opinions, but when he starts repeating debunked lies, that's when I'm done. That's when I'm done.
He started out good, and then at the end there, it was like a sharp decline at the very end.
Wait, he got beat.
Yeah.
You hit him with the RKO. I hit him with the Stone Cold Stunner, and it was done. I mean, you can't sit there and say that the guys, they can't be loyal, but he found it weird that nobody's loyal to him.
Yeah,
you can use other words, but right.
That was an excellent point. He said, none of his generals are supporting him, but his generals shouldn't support him. Is what he said in the exact same statement. But I can tell you, I just got out of the Army. I was in the Army for 7 years, just recently. And the leaders of the Army the amount of leadership since Trump has left has just dropped off. So many people left actually after Donald Trump because they could not stand the military anymore under the Biden leadership. And
the vaccine mandates, the trans nonsense,
it's been
all
crazy.
The LGBTQ, LMNOP BS.
Yeah, I don't trust any generals that are currently in there. I really don't. The ones that are in there, they're woke generals. All the good ones left because they couldn't follow the orders of Biden, especially like the COVID stuff. It was just ridiculous on how many great soldiers, I was in the Army, how many great soldiers were put out by some stupid mandate. And the generals that supported it, I have no trust for or respect for.
Let's take one more call before we go to break on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, what's going on? I haven't called in a while, but every time John calls, it used to be Thomas, but no, I totally disagree with John. But I don't know if y'all have heard of this guy, Alan Lichtman. He's predicted like all the past presidential candidates, and but he doesn't pay attention to polls, and he uses these 13 factors to decide if personally, I don't see how the race can be close. But if he's not using polls and he's going off his 13 factors or whatnot. He chose Kamala for some reason, but I just don't see it even using his key factors, short-term economy, long-term economy. He both scored the Biden-Harris administration favorably in those two categories.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Clay, we were just talking about this during the break. We're not talking about him, but we're talking about the Vegas odds, who are, again, not using polls, but using other factors. And the Vegas odds favor Donald Trump, using those alternate factors, which I think says a lot when you look at the Vegas odds.
Yeah, and with the Alan Lichtman guy, he's like, campaigning doesn't matter, debates don't matter.
Yeah.
I'm like, so why do people spend why do they spend billions of dollars if none of this stuff matters? And maybe it's just admin-free of everything. But I don't know, maybe y'all can look up those 13 factors because I can't remember them all right now and talk about it. But yeah, that's all I really had. It's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks, but yeah.
Hey, good hearing from you, brother.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Let's take a break. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Matt Bishop. We'll be right back on WYAB. On. He has a way of doing that. He's a nut job.
Yeah.
So
but
it's interesting. But it's the same thing. Look, I'm still not convinced that guy didn't get a paycheck from the radio station just to call and get us agitated every now and then.
It's not like Master D if he ever calls in again.
He hasn't called in about a week.
I know.
Hopefully we can keep that. Hopefully we can keep him from calling back. He starts off and he makes a couple good points, and then it's just reparations.
Reparations, yeah, the black man, and but
you had me to reparations.
Yeah, and makes sense. Like he's saying, he'll start making sense the first two sentences, and it just. But Master D though goes way deep off once he starts going in.
He makes some conservative points, then he makes some far left Black Israelite type points. And it's like, what are we doing here?
How did we get to that point? But no, I like I said, I do think that at the end of the day, it's who is more motivated to come out there, and right now, there's no doubt that Trump's people are more motivated than Kamala Harris's.
100%. That's what I was going to say, and I'm glad you brought that back up. What the Democrats don't have is I don't believe anybody loves Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
like she's not a movement.
No,
she's not an Obama type figure.
No.
Where people love Trump.
He's a cult of personality for good.
Like you have people that love him and you have people that hate him. I don't think anybody is 6 one way, half dozen the other with him.
No,
everybody's neutral on Trump, and I think nobody loves Kamala. They're voting for her because they hate Trump, and she also has a lot of people who hate her.
Right,
because she has 4 years on the job.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like her, you've got the ammunition not to like her.
Of course.
Because if she ain't done shit.
She's also just not a generally likable person. Like, so let's not forget about when she ran for president, 4 years ago. Didn't even make it to the first primary. I love playing Tulsi Gabbard just because Tulsi Gabbard is one of my we both lived in Hawaii for a while. She was a representative in Hawaii. But when she just absolutely destroyed Kamala on the debate stage, and forced Kamala to drop out before even the first primary. And it just shows, how unlikable she is as a person. And you put that in the fact that, A, she's unlikable, but B, she has nothing to back, and she has no policy to make up for that, right? It's like, okay, I get it. Like, Trump, he can call off people, but he has great policies, right? We know he has a proven track record, so I can look past the brashness or whatever you don't. I personally like the brashness, but,
I do too.
But those people who don't like that part of it, they can look past. So you know what? I was better 4 years ago, right? His policies did work, right? Whereas Kamala Harris, she's unlikable, and she has no policies. So what am I doing here?
So you can just look at the simple things that affect your day-to-day life, and it was all better under Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that Kamala Harris, that's her campaign, has the biggest problem is 4 years ago is a long time, but not that long.
About to come back. Okay. I got a question I want to ask you when we come back.
Alrighty.
Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends at Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. Guys, experience the grass-fed difference. Not just grass-fed, it's also 100% grass-finished, mRNA-free, antibiotic-free, steroid-free, Mississippi-raised beef. You can check them out online at Stonington. That's Stonington with 2 N's, farm.com. No S at the end there, just StoningtonFarm.com. They come up this way once a month. But, hey, you can also get your stuff drop shipped to you. They'll put it in a freezer box with some dry ice and ship it to you. It does cost a little extra, obviously. Or you can just get enough to last you a month like I do. I bought enough to last about 3 months one time, and I haven't had to get any in a while. But it is getting that time. Y'all will see me at one of the drop-off points, the next delivery in a few weeks. But check them out, man. You will not regret experiencing the grass-fed difference. The ribeyes are phenomenal. The chuck eyes are great. I love the hamburger meat. It's got me back to just enjoying eating hamburger meat.
Yeah.
And if you do a side by side taste comparison to some store bought and that grass fed, you will have a hard time ever eating store bought.
You can't go back.
You can't. It's like the best way I can describe it. It's like drinking a Coca-Cola out of a bottle versus a Coca-Cola out of a watered down soft drink machine.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference.
It's definitely.
Well, too, with the rising cancer rates with people, a lot of it's, tied to additives they put in meat and these, the vaccinated cows and all this other craziness that's put in there. So having like actual natural meat makes it so much more healthy and so much better for you.
Look, that's one of the things I'm super excited about Trump teaming up with Robert Kennedy is to make America healthy again stuff and getting these dyes out of our cereals and foods and just all the other stuff he's going to try to do to make America healthy again. You can have fast food, but it doesn't have to be manipulated food. No. You can have
doesn't be mostly chemicals.
Exactly. The chicken nuggets don't have to be pink paste.
Exactly.
What is in that? That is not chicken.
Oof.
That is a lab altered meat.
Yeah.
And that was ironically, that is my favorite thing at McDonald's is the chicken nuggets.
Oh, really?
Because I don't eat McDonald's. I haven't in 5-6 years, if not longer. But if I were to, I would go to the chicken nuggets.
That'd be the first thing you buy.
That'd be it. Even knowing what I know about them, like, I drink Fireball too. What the hell?
Yeah, just go at it. Do both at the same time. Yeah. Dip it in the Fireball is what I say.
I do like the spicy mustard. So
yeah,
same thing, right?
Exactly.
Same thing. Oh, we were talking during the break, and I was going to ask you something, but I have completely forgotten what I was going to ask you when my talk about Stonington Farm grass-fed beef there and Fireball and chicken McNuggets.
Right.
But with all that said, let's jump back through the comments here. Maybe I can. Oh, you know what? The Hitler stuff.
Oh, yes.
The Hitler stuff. Let's go to that. We got 3 minutes. So this whole conversation, it started back with this Atlantic article. And I just want to read y'all a quote out of this Atlantic article. And then I'm going to read the debunking from the people who were there, which is phenomenal. That they mentioned all these people's names and all the people who were named as sources or whatever, and this all debunked it. So they're all this is being done through anonymous sources. But all the named sources have called this a lie.
Yes.
But they're still rolling with it because they trust their anonymous source.
Of course.
Not all the people that were
all these anonymous sources. These anonymous sources. They're always coming out of the woodwork.
This is so funny. But all right, so it says Kamala Harris has her BFF. I'm just giving y'all my notes here. I wrote Kamala Harris, BFF, Steve Jobs' widow at The Atlantic, signs off on one of their nut job journalists, the Mississippi version of Ashton Pittman from the Mississippi Free Press. I always like to throw Ashton under the bus anytime I get an opportunity because he's the leader of the rainbow supremacy here locally. Yes. They completely fabricated a story about Trump saying, quote, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. And then there's another, because this is about the lady who got killed on one of the bases by a shooter, or she got murdered on one of the bases. And Trump had hosted them in the White House, and he had offered to pay for the funeral or give the family some money or just made an offer. Right. And so fast forward a little bit, Trump had asked somebody, how much did the funeral cost? And they're like, $60,000. And he says, quote, now, according to sources, he said, quote, it doesn't cost $60,000 to bury an effing Mexican. He turned to his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and issued an order, don't pay for it. Later that day, he was still agitated. Can you believe it, he said, according to a witness, effing people trying to rip me off. Now, of course, this has been completely, let's use one of their words, debunked, and proven to be a lie. And one of the people in it, the attorney for the family of the girl that was killed, has come out and said, this is attorney Natalie Kawam, Khawam, Kawam, I think. Says,
I'm horrible at names, so.
I mean, me too.
I hate it when they come up.
If you get outside of Smith, I'm lost.
I know.
But she retweeted the Atlantic article and says, after having dealt with hundreds of reporters in my legal career, this is unfortunately the first time I have had to go on record and call out Jeffrey Goldberg at The Atlantic. Not only did he misrepresent our conversation, he outright lied in his sensational story. More importantly, he used and exploited my clients and Vanessa Guillen's murder for cheap political gain. I would like to also point out that the timing of the story is quite suspicious, as this supposed conversation that Trump had would have occurred over 4 years ago. Why a story about it now? Why wouldn't this have come out in 2020?
Exactly. That's what I've said a lot about these things. Everything seems to be awkwardly timed, right?
Yeah. Just like this new rape allegations that happened 31 years ago, but we're just hearing about it today.
And never during his first years of presidency. The first time he ran, all 4 years he ran, since he's in it, but 2 weeks before the election.
Would have tried to sink him then.
Right, exactly.
Let's see here. So continuing on, because as everyone knows, not only did Trump support our military, he also invited my clients to the Oval Office and supported the I Am Vanessa Guillen bill too. Mm-hmm. Quote, I'm grateful we were successful in getting bipartisan support of the I Am Vanessa Guillen Act, and because of everyone's hard work and efforts, our service members now have more protections and rights while serving our country. Trump also got the Department of Defense or whatever to make this a in the line of duty killing, which opened up the family to way more benefits and some other things as well that they didn't have to do.
No. In fact, I talked about in the Army. In the Army, I was a prosecutor and very familiar with the Vanessa Guillen case. I was a prosecutor that specialized in homicides, actually. And I'll never forget when Vanessa Guillen happened at Fort Hood, because it did change everything that we did. And a lot of that was Donald Trump. And being able to give victims of sexual assault or murder or any of these things, these horrible crimes, to give them that line of duty, say, hey, this happened because of your service in the Army. It was such a big boost to victims of, they want to talk about how Donald Trump doesn't care about women. Well, I can tell you right now, the Vanessa Guillen Act did so much for victims of military sexual trauma, of people who get murdered in the military, and putting soldiers first, right? That because he talks about putting America first. He put soldiers first. And the Vanessa Guillen, how he handled that, how the Army handled it was not great, right? I was there when it happened. It was an embarrassment to the Army of how we handled a lot of that stuff. But when Donald Trump came in there and fixed it, it was so good. And I'm glad that her attorney, who is kind of a liberal person, if you know who that family attorney is, to come out there and say that means quite a bit.
Yep. Man, this whole article is absolutely disgusting. I'm trying to find there's a part in here I just wanted to read. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I want to read this part. This is after telling the whole story.
Yeah.
And this is where they threw in all their liberal buzzwords to try to convince everybody what a bad person Trump is. And this is where I think America is really getting tired of this crap. Says, the personal qualities displayed by Trump in his reaction to the cost of Guillen's funeral, contempt, rage, parsimony, racism, hardly surprised his inner circle. Trump has frequently voiced his disdain for those who served in the military, a lie, and for their devotion to duty, honor, and sacrifice. Former generals who have worked for Trump say that the sole military virtue he prizes is obedience. As his presidency drew to a close, and in the years since, he has become more and more interested in the advantages of dictatorship and the absolute control over the military that he believes it would deliver. Quote, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had, Trump said in a private conversation in the White House, according to two people who heard him say this. People who were totally loyal to him that follow orders. This is absolutely false, Pfeiffer wrote in an email. President Trump never said this. So they're just saying this is two people who heard him say this.
Right.
We don't have to know who those two people are.
No.
We're supposed to believe you because you're the Atlantic.
Right. Mr. and Miss Anonymous again.
There was something funny the other day. Speaking of the Atlantic,
yeah,
I subscribe to one liberal publication, the Daily Beast. I use it to make content.
Yeah, of course.
So it's kind of nice to know. It's $4.99 a month. It's kind of nice to know what the enemy's thinking.
Yeah.
And they released this article that says, never before the Atlantic endorses a candidate. And they endorsed Kamala Harris. I'm like, first off, I think that's a lie. I'm pretty sure they endorsed Joe Biden 4 years ago, too.
If not directly, you can look at how they do their journalism. It's pretty clear.
Like, in in other news, Lance Bass is gay. I mean, no kidding. They endorsed Kamala Harris. I just thought it was comical that they came out and they endorsed Kamala last week, and now they're writing this absolute butcher of a hit piece.
Well, that's also the concern, as someone who is a trained journalist, and to see that journalistic integrity, which is just completely gone out the window. Like I said, anytime it's anonymous sources are common in journalism, but you always got to back it up. You don't just take their word for it. You always have to back it up with other evidence. And they just say, hey, if it's bad about Trump, publish it as soon as you can. As soon as it comes out their mouth, put it in print.
Well, here's Vanessa Guillen's sister. Says, wow. I don't appreciate how you are exploiting my sister's death for politics, hurtful and disrespectful to the important changes she made for service members. President Donald Trump did nothing but show respect to my family and Vanessa. In fact, I voted for President Trump today.
Well, that's really saying something.
It really is. I mean, this is completely disrespectful. And this is what Trump meant, y'all, when he said the enemy within. Mm-hmm. It is the mainstream media, and it's these deep state trolls that have embedded themselves into our U.S. government. The swamp is real. I didn't realize until it's there, but there is definitely an enemy within, and there's no doubt about it. Anything, but I think it's so great that Vanessa Guillen's sister said that they've been through so much, and they were treated pretty horribly at times by the Army. So it's like I said, Donald Trump really fixed that, and it's really good to hear that Vanessa Guillen's family is are Trump supporters, because they've lived it, so they know. Somebody asked what the name of this is Jeffrey Goldberg is the author, is the journalist on this hit piece at The Atlantic. Jeffrey Goldberg. I will drop a link to this in the comments here if y'all want to. I read the whole thing last night for show prep purposes, and I regret it. But there's the link in the comments there. All right, look, we're going to take our last break of the first hour here. We're going to sign off with Matt. Matt, thank you, brother.
No, thank you. Thank you for always having me on. It's always great.
All right, I will be right back. Going to go quiet online for a minute. Radio audience, stay tuned. We'll be right back on WYAB. Boom, shakalaka boom. We are back live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. Streaming worldwide at WYAB.com as well as the TuneIn app, and in 4K all day on not WYAB, on the Save JXN Facebook, YouTube, and X accounts, as well as the Clay Edwards Show Rumble page. This segment brought to you by our friends at Mazda of Jackson, proud sponsors of the Mazda of Jackson phone line. There's never been a better time to buy a Mazda, and the best deals around are at Mazda of Jackson. Mazda is one of the top 5 most dependable brands on the road, and Mazda of Jackson has hundreds of new and used vehicles available right now. All sorts of APR specials available, as well as rebates. Be sure to check them out online at MazdaofJackson.com, or better yet, swing by and see them in person right there on I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson, right there at Briarwood over there by Cowboy Maloney's Electric City. And don't forget, all new Mazdas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. They're locally owned and locally operated right there at Mazda of Jackson. Speaking of Mazda of Jackson, the phone line this morning, if you guys want to call in, is 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line, we're going to get you your text too here in a minute, is 769-241-1944. Thank Matt Bishop for coming in, doing that first hour with me. Now I want to get something off my chest. I want to, there's been all of these so-called Republicans for Kamala Harris. You guys may or may not be familiar with the cucks over at the Lincoln Project. It's a bunch of disenchanted former Republicans like Kellyanne Conway's husband or ex-husband or whatever, and several others. One of the guys ended up being proven a pedophile, so go figure. Anyway, they tweeted something yesterday. Well, I guess it was 2 days ago. It says, F McDonald's, F Donald Trump, and they used the whole word, not the F, F J.D. Vance, F the Republican Party, and F anybody who doesn't vote for Kamala Harris. And if you're down with Biggie, F you too. It sounds like they quoting Tupac's "Hit 'Em Up." Huh? Made me think about something funny. Anyway, so look, man, I'm tired of these so-called disenchanted Republicans who claim to be Republicans for Kamala, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, that traitor John McCain's daughter, all these people. Fed up with them. Let me tell you something. If you're voting for Kamala Harris, you are not a Republican. You are now a Democrat. Period. It's not up for debate. You're not a Republican for anything. You're a Democrat. You're a left-wing progressive terrorist now. Period. End of discussion. The analogy that I'm going to use here, it's like a gay man that swings both ways. But he'll try to tell you that he's not gay because he still likes women. And all my straight dudes out there, y'all know that once a guy switch hits, he's gay for life. I don't care if he does it just one time. Y'all know that we don't just allow you. I mean, we'll still be your friend, but you're our gay friend now. I mean, all it takes is one time, and you're our gay friend now. You're not our straight friend. I don't care how many women you sleep with the rest of your life. You are our gay friend now. Same energy. You don't get to switch hit and still call yourself straight. You don't get to switch vote and still call yourself a Republican. Am I making sense for you all here? You're our gay friend now. If you vote for Kamala, you're our Democrat friend now. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't mind a Democrat like Sean, who has been a tried and true and really hasn't left the reservation. Because I know what to get. I know what to expect out of Sean. I know what I'm getting. He's a good friend, and he's never pretended to be anything other than a Democrat. I don't really have any interest in being friends with a quote unquote Republican that's voting for Kamala Harris. Y'all are traitors. Y'all are like the gay friend that doesn't tell anybody he's gay. You know, like, be as gay as you want, but get your ass out the closet. Nobody wants to hang out with somebody who ain't being them true selves. So that's my thoughts on that. So the Lincoln Project, folks, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, all of them, they're switch hitters. Period. Again, like the Clay Edwards show has no problem with gay folks, by the way. But I think that's the realest analogy I can make for you guys. If you're switch hitting, you're not what you started out as. You just ain't. It's like these trans people. If you cut your thing off, you're just a dude without a thing. Period. Let's see here. Let's read a couple of your chats on the online. Roger says, if you're a guy and is gay, you're seriously messed up in the head because women have I can't read that. I almost read that. I can't read that. Daniel says, if you vote Kamala, you're now a baby-killing progressive liberal enemy. Yeah. Tiffany says, I couldn't be friends with no Kamala voter. Says a lot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can be friends with a Kamala voter as long as they've always been a Democrat. Somebody who's switching over from Republican to Democrat, I can't do it. Like, these candidates are so far apart in what they want to do for America that you're the enemy of the state. You're the enemy within. If you look at what they've done and think to yourself, man, you know what? I want 4 more years of that. There's no way you can look at what's going on in America right now and think to yourself, we need 4 more years of this. This thing is really going in the right direction. These open borders are working out well for everybody. This not drilling in America, this is working out great for everybody. All this DEI, CRT, LGBTQ nonsense is really making the workplace a lot easier for everybody. There's nobody can see all this and think that this is making America any greater. It's not. These things are all deteriorating at the foundation of the carcass of this once great country. I mean, you're the enemy within. If you look at that and you think we need 4 more years of this. I mean, seriously, can somebody tell me how their life is better today than it was 4 years ago? I mean, when it comes to things that government, maybe you've met a girlfriend or a boyfriend and you've fallen in love and you're seeing everything through that lens and your life is better. Maybe you're a recovering alcoholic, drug addict, and your life is better in that sense. But I mean, when it comes to your finances, your safety, and all the things that the government is in charge of, please let me know how your life is any better today than it was 4 years ago. Because it's not. You are lying. You are lying if you say that your life is better than it was when it comes to things the government's in control of. Let's see here. Let's read some text on the Guns and Gear text line. Pull them up here. Unknown texter says, these are the greatest analogies I've ever heard. Thank you. I am very proud of my analogies. Jerry says, enemy within. Muslim spy who leaked plans by Israel to strike Iran. She works still at the U.S. State Department. General Milley calling China to tell them we will give them a heads up if Trump calls for an attack. Traitor. FBI, CIA, DOJ, all spying on Americans. Same agencies making up Russia hoax. Same agencies hiding the Biden crimes. List goes on, but Home Depot has a lot of rope. You know, somebody told me yesterday that the FBI is curious about how I know so much about the mayor's potential indictments. And, you know, apparently I used a hashtag that got their attention. How does he know so much? I live here. The streets be talking, and I be listening. But I say all that to say this. He mentioned about the Hunter Biden laptop and the FBI and hiding the Biden crimes. The FBI going to Facebook and telling them that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russia misinformation. So I just keep expecting the FBI to pay me a visit to talk about how I know so much about the mayor's case. And I just want to ask them, guys, I mean, how am I supposed to trust somebody? How am I supposed to trust an agency that told America that Hunter Biden's laptop was misinformation? We don't trust our government anymore. Trump could be president tomorrow, and I still don't trust our government. And now, if he puts Kash Patel as head of the FBI or the Department of Justice or the Attorney General, I may start feeling a little bit better about this thing. Let's read some more of your text here on the Guns and Gear text line. Great text, Jerry. William and Brandon says, but the LA Times is not endorsing Kamala. They did for Biden, Obama, and Hillary. Says a lot, doesn't it? Says a lot. They don't feel that momentum. We talked about momentum earlier. Elections are based on momentum, not polling, not any of that. Who's got the momentum? Trump has the momentum right now. That's why they're so mad about that McDonald's thing. That. I know I keep doing air quotes in the studio here, but the political stunt that Trump pulled at McDonald's. Yeah, no kidding, it was a political stunt. No kidding, it was a political stunt. Democrats are, to be so book smart, they're so stupid. To be so book smart and so overly educated, liberals, especially of the white liberal, the North American white liberal, they lack common sense so much because they take everything literally. Literally. They thought he was literally working at a McDonald's. Of course it was closed down to the public, you jackasses. Of course it was closed to the public. Of course the people going through the drive-thru were hand-picked Trump supporters. Did you think we were going to set our guy up at the drive-thru window? Think about this. Think about how stupid this sounds. I want y'all to, y'all know my saying. Before you say something stupid to me, I want you to go stand in front of the mirror and I want you to look at yourself look yourself man to man, eye to eye, woman to woman, man to woman, whatever you are. I'm not judging. I want you to say whatever it is you're going to say to me out loud to yourself. And if it sounds stupid to you, it's probably going to sound stupid to me. Well, that McDonald's wasn't even open to the public. That was a political stunt. Well, let's see. The last time our guy was out golfing, one of you all tried to peel his cap back down in Florida, and we had to arrest somebody. One of the last big outdoor speeches he did, y'all shot our guy. So yeah, so with all these left-wing nut jobs, with the Democrat nominee for the president of the United States out there calling our guy a Nazi Hitler terrorist, trying to get her nut job left-wing followers so fired up that they try killing him again. With her out there, with Kamala Harris saying, this is a tweet from Kamala, Donald Trump is out here for unchecked power. He wants a military like Adolf Hitler had, who will be loyal to him and not our Constitution. He is unhinged, unstable, and given a second term, there would be no one to stop him from pursuing his worst impulses. So yeah, when you're basically calling for the assassination of our candidate, yes, it was a political stunt. Yes, the people at the drive-thru were pre-selected, screened, and made sure they didn't have guns in the car. You effing idiots. To have so much, to be so smart, why are Democrats so stupid? Let's take a call on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Clay, what's up? It's Joe, man.
Hey, brother.
Hey, you were talking about the momentum of the election earlier, which kind of ties back to the caller about 2 segments ago talking about the guy that does the predictions with I think it's 13 factors. Alan, can't remember his last name.
Lichtman, something like that.
Yeah, Lichtman. And so I read that same article or one very similar to it that he was referring to, and based on the history and all of that, yes, I think with the exception of Bush and the electoral vote in Florida, based on the popular vote, he has, I believe, had 100% accuracy. However, a lot of those 13 factors that are in play or being considered are very debatable, if not he's on the wrong side, or the data is questionable from what I read, and I don't remember all of them specifically, but there was a couple of them there that stuff about the economy and the economy not being doing well, and polls and stuff like that you're like, but is that really, are those really accurate, especially under the current administration and media temperament? So it kind of makes you uneasy when you first read it, and then you kind of start reading some of the data that they're basing those questions and criteria off, and you're like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's all very opinion driven.
Yeah, as opposed to in the past, it seemed like it was pretty, for the most part, accurate data, but it does not seem as such this go around. So, anyway, brother, keep it up. I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Hey, appreciate you, brother. All right, I ran over there. I wanted to take that call this segment. We got to take a quick break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I will be right back here on WYAB. All right, let's read some of your comments while we're on commercial break. Y'all don't forget Shuckers this Saturday night. It is the big not crawfish bowl. It is the big Halloween bash at Shuckers this Saturday night. $2,000 in cash prizes being given away for scariest, best, and sexiest costumes. I'm sorry, scariest, funniest, sexiest costumes. Got to be there signed up at 10 o'clock, and you got to stay till midnight. Be present to win. And don't forget, the Spunk Monkeys will be live on stage inside, and the All-Stars will be live on stage on the patio. Going to be a packed crowd. And don't forget, Shuckers does have a shuttle bus that comes back and forth across the reservoir. So get with them on getting on the shuttle bus and saving yourself the Uber ride. That's a good deal there. All right, let's check out some of your comments here while we're in commercial break. I want to shift gears when we get back, but I don't want to leave y'all's comments hung out to dry. Let's see here. I want to make sure I go back far enough to get you guys. FTW says we can't handle 4 more years of this. That's what Tim Walz said. Tim Walz said the most truthful statement on this entire campaign, didn't he? Daniel says, my father bragged about voting for Biden 3 days after the election. I told him that's our last conversation. He died on his deathbed knowing I was not going to see or talk to him again. Hey, look, man. I love the commitment, Daniel. I love the commitment. Lane says, I have gotten 3 raises in the last 4 years. Fortunately, inflation has wiped out any perceived gains. Yeah, that sucks. And that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I make more money now than I did 4 years ago. But you can't tell. I mean, I'm living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, when I shouldn't be. Now, granted, I'm a single income household, but I make good money. I mean, I have worked my ass off to get in this position that I'm in, and I don't really get to reap the benefits from it necessarily. I'm actually considering going and selling cars part-time to offset some of this single income household stuff. I don't want to, because I make enough money doing this that I shouldn't have to. I can't even afford health insurance right now. And under a Trump economy, I should have $20,000, $30,000 in the bank. I don't. I just tell y'all my personal business because I don't hide anything from you guys. Well, I tell y'all, I want y'all to know I'm one of you. I'm as normal as it gets. I just don't have a filter. So I'm kind of the voice of the voiceless here. Steven says, America first. We got a great caller on hold too, so I can't wait to get him on the air. We got about 2 or 3 minutes before we come back. Let me zoom through y'all's comments. Whitney says on YouTube, Whitney, thank you for watching on YouTube, sweetie. Also, for those not voting, that's basically giving your vote to Kamala, in my opinion. I went and absentee voted yesterday in Rankin County. It took me 17 minutes from the time I got out of my car to the time I got back in my car. And there's a bunch of valid reasons you can absentee vote. I highly recommend doing it if you qualify for any of those reasons. Way simple. Because I'm going to be out here in Florida all day on the radio from 7 a.m. for almost 24 hours on that day. So I wasn't going to be able to get back over there and vote. Because don't forget, Sean and I are doing an election night big event here where we'll be on air the whole election night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. if we have to. All right, we're getting ready to come back. Going to be silent for just a second. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show live here on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at, how about my friends at Lakeland Glass and Tint? Get over there today. Check them out. They got their brand new location right there in downtown Brandon. Welcome to the 042 Lakeland Glass and Tint. I believe they're doing window tint and windshields at this location, but don't quote me on that. Call them 601-946-1000 and find out for sure about what services they're offering there at the Lakeland Drive. At the new downtown Brandon location on the corner of 471 and 80. But Lakeland Glass and Tint, at one location or another, can get your windshields and automobile glass replaced. Not just your windshields. If your side window gets broken out, they can take care of that too. Your back windshield gets broken out, they can take care of that too. Window tint, obviously, it's in the name. They can take care of all your window tinting, not just your car. They can take care of your home and your business also. In Mississippi, the sun beats down on the side of these homes and buildings. It can be treacherous. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. That sun has no mercy. Help bring your cooling bills down. Help keep that vicious sun out of your eyes. And look, they can do vehicle wraps, turn your vehicle into a rolling billboard. And they also do paint protection film and ceramic coating. So they're your one-stop shop for all of your vehicle paint and clear coat protection needs, heat protection needs. They got it all. Lakeland Glass and Tint, the Expel Installer Dealer of the Year, 2 years in a row. LakelandGlassandTint.com for a free quote today. Let's go straight to the Mazda of Jackson phone line. We got one of my favorite callers on the line. Hey, brother, thanks for staying on hold.
Hey, Clay. You know, I was listening to you talking about the Democrats and the Republicans and the traitors in the Republican Party. And I think one of the things we kind of lose when we have discussions with politics, like I did with a Democrat friend this morning, is we get caught up in the D's and R's. You know, if we were, like, for example, if we were electing a pastor of a church or something like that, you wouldn't be dividing the church between D's and R's. You'd say, who can best run our church, or who's the best pastor? And the thing is we need to look at the ideas that each side is proposing. And as far as like D's and R's go, we have so many traitors who've always voted Republican. I mean, the John McCain's, the Romney's, the Mitch McConnell's, these people, you know, so often we get our minds wrapped around D's and R's, but we don't think, you know, are focusing on making sure that we get quality Republicans who are truly Republican, because so often they work against our interests behind the scenes. Just like take the repeal of Obamacare, for example. You know, I mean, we need to raise the bar to understand that our battle, if I could say so, is between globalists and nationalists. That's why you've seen like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK switch over and support Trump, is because they see the grand battle.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. One of the questions I was going to ask when I came back, but I took your phone call first. I want people to name one. I even asked Sean this yesterday, and he couldn't think of anything. I want people to name one policy that the Democrats currently have that puts America first.
You can't name one. There's not one out there. I mean,
and a serious question. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being rude. I'm not being a smartass. I want one policy that the Democrats are currently shoving down our throats that is America first, and there's not one.
No, there's not, because the Democratic Party today is pure 100% Marxist communism. The Republican Party today is maybe, you know, in theory, the JFK Democrat. You know, it's like both parties have shifted to the left, so we don't have a pure Republican Party. And like I said, what makes it even worse is you've got those people who call themselves Republican, and every year, you know, they come up there and they give their speeches and say, you know, oh, I'm for small government, oh, I'm pro-gun and stuff like that. But then they get up there and then they work behind the scenes against us. And then, you know, comes re-election time, you know, here's they'll take a picture of themselves at the gun range or something like that, and okay, well, at least he's not a Democrat, you know. But we've got to get, just like I was talking to my Democrat friend, you know, the rules of like monetary policy and economics. It's like the law of gravity. You know, if you go up on a building, you jump off the building. The law of gravity don't care if you're black or white or a Democrat, Republican. You're going to fall and break your leg or kill yourself. If you go out there and whether it's let's say monetary policy where you're a Zimbabwe or the Germany of World War I, after World War I, or Venezuela or Argentina, when you print more money just to pay bills and spend more money, inflation is going to come no matter what you are. So, I mean, we have to rise the discussion above the D's and R's and look at, okay, what are you trying to do? Because, you know, when Venezuela or Argentina created money like out of thin air, like there's no tomorrow. They ended up with hyperinflation. What makes us think we can do the same and not end up with a different result?
Agreed, brother. It's like somebody just said here in the comments online. It says no tax on tips. Oh wait, Camel Toe stole that from Trump. They don't have anything that they want to do to make America better. And I agree with you 100% on these fake Republicans. There were two names on the. I went and absentee voted yesterday in Rankin County, and there were two Republican names on there, and they were running unopposed, and I wrote in somebody for both of them.
You know, one of the things that pisses me off is when I see every campaign season come up and like Camilla said, well, I have a plan and my plan is this and I'm going to give so much to small businesses, or even when Republicans do it, well, I have a plan. It's just like a campaign speech that they know that they'll never deliver on. You know, the best thing to do is understand these politicians, understand their worldview and their mindset, and that's what they're going to govern by. It's not some plan that they will or will not implement. Is what are these people? Just like if you can look past Trump. Trump is not my savior. There's a lot I don't like about Trump. There's some I really like about Trump. But what is Trump's worldview? What is going to be his governing mindset? And you know, Trump is not the best, like a dictator. He's more of a delegator. He likes to get qualified people and put them in charge of areas of expertise that they have, whether it's like, say, RFK. If he puts RFK over, Department of Health, I mean, that's a good fit. That's what Trump is best at.
Agreed.
If that makes any sense.
Hey, brother, I got to take my break, man. Appreciate you. Great call today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Appreciate that. Let's take our break here, and we'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. If y'all see me counting, we're on a 5-second delay. So I have to count to 5 after I shut up, and then hit the button to take us to break where the music hits on time so there's no downtime on radio. Y'all are watching online, you don't hear any of this other stuff. So that's what I'm doing. It's a silent count. Just FYI. Yeah, circling back to something while we're in break. We're going to be doing election night coverage, Sean and I. It'll start at 6 p.m., I think. We'll start at 6. Should start either 6 or 7. And because Kim's show ends at 6, I think we're going on right after that. But anyway, well, the polls close at 7. So and we'll figure it out, 6 or 7. And it's going to go all night. At least it could go till 6 a.m. the next morning when Matt's show starts at 6. I'm going to try to catch an hour nap on the couch if they haven't called anything, and then my show will be live from 7 to 9. So we will 100% be giving you wall-to-wall election coverage here on WYAB. Sean and I did it on election night for the governor's race last year, and the reviews were phenomenal. The numbers were huge. So we said, hey, why don't we take that same energy to the presidential election? And we are. So, if you're a business owner out there and you're interested in sponsoring the election night coverage, we've got some great packages available for you guys. So please consider sponsoring. Let's see here some of your comments. Peekaboo says, better get a bunch of pizza and coffee. That's going to be a very long night. It is. It is going to be a long night. I'm going to try my best to keep it up. Travitt says, you're a hard hitter. Keep it up. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Was that Matry Mac? I hope I'm saying your name right there. So just got my FAFO hoodie. Love it. Man, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love them, man. They're just soft. Real soft. I brought a T-shirt to wear with me after this. It was kind of chilly this morning, but when I leave here, I'm putting on a T-shirt. I got a business meeting. My brother, let's see here. FTW on YouTube says, Kamala literally talks about the plan but has yet to articulate once what the plan is. What have a plan, and we will implement the plan, and it's the plan. Yeah, we have a plan. We're going to implement the plan. You know, the plan. The plan, you know, the thing. You know, man, the thing. They just replaced the thing with the plan. Yeah, I want to circle back to something that me and Matt talked about in the first segment there. I was going to talk a little bit about Jackson today, but no real update on all that. So we'll keep it national here. Getting ready to come back. I'm going to hold you to that, Roger. I'm going to hold you to that. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on WYAB as well as streaming online worldwide at WYAB.com in audio and in 4K video on the Save JXN, Facebook, YouTube, X, and, of course, the Clay Edwards Show Rumble account. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Guns and Gear, located right there on Highway 51 North in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. Visit their all-new website, gunsandgear.co. That's gunsandgear.co today, and check out the full inventory there online. Or better yet, swing by in person right there at the corner of Yandell Road and 51 and see Hunter and the team yourself in person. I got their website pulled up on the screen there if anybody wants to see it. And, man, get yourself a gun. They're the home of No Limit Ammo. Of course, they can take care of all your gunsmithing and Cerakoting needs. And don't forget, man, they buy guns. If this Biden economy has gotten the best of you, you know, you're coming up just a little bit short at the end of the month. You've stockpiled ammunition and guns the last couple of years, getting ready for the inevitable showdown with the Democrats from the enemy within, the Republican, the neocon globalist Republicans and the Democrats. Man, don't be afraid to shake one off. You can only shoot two at a time anyway. I'm kidding. But anyway, they do buy guns. Get over there. Sell yours today if you need to. Get fair market value for it from Hunter and the team at Guns and Gear. Shop them online. Guns in, the letter N, Gear, not MS. Gunsandgear.co today. All right. Let's see here. I was wanting to circle back to something. Yeah. So here, I lied. We're not going to circle back. We're going to shift gears here a little bit. I was telling our listeners online, don't forget, election night, Sean and I are going to be doing wall-to-wall election night coverage, I think from 6 p.m., it may be 7, but 6 or 7 p.m., all the way to 6 a.m. the next morning if we have to. And then I'm going to take an hour nap on the couch and do my show from 7 to 9. You know, hopefully we've crowned a winner by then. If not, we're going to keep on doing it till we do, but we'll be on the air for potentially 12 hours right here on WYAB, as well as streaming on all of my online platforms as well. So circle the date. No need in watching the national news, the local news. We're going to be doing it all for you right here at WYAB. If you're a business owner and would like to consider sponsoring our election night coverage, please shoot me an email, clay@wyab.com. We got several packages available that make a lot of sense for some really, really good coverage that night. The last time we did it, the ratings were massive, and they got great reviews, so we're doing it again. All right. Cenk Uygur, one of the Young Turks, said something last night on Twitter, about 10:20 last night. He says, every poll shows that Trump insisting he won the 2020 election hurts him a lot. People think he's a crybaby, an unhinged loser who keeps making crap up. So, all of his advisors have told him to shut up about it, but he can't do it because he's a dum-dum with no self-control. No, they want us to shut up about it because they know what they did. Now that Trump is getting in front of normies on with all these podcasts, they want us to shut up about it. Shut up about it, Trump. Quit telling people that the election was rigged. Quit telling people there were shenanigans. People need to forget about it. Look, I'm tired of hearing about it. I told Sean the other day, I said, I'm sick and tired of hearing about election thievery. I was like, there's nothing we can do about it now. We had to learn from our mistakes. We had to move on. I don't disagree with that. But I also don't agree that he should have to shut up about it. But I'm going to say this. Concerning all that and concerning, God's plan and the way things work out, I think America having to suffer these 4 years under this illegitimate regime and having to see just how bad things can be, I think this has brought a lot of us together. Now, there's still a bunch of left-wing nut jobs out there who are never going to be happy, a bunch of former Republicans who are now Democrats, like the Lincoln Project people, who are never going to be happy. But I think overall, race relations are in a better situation than they were with black men coming on board and realizing that the Democrat Party does, in fact, not like them, coming on board and jumping on the Trump train. A lot of our Hispanic friends jumping on the Trump train. I think men in general are a lot. We've formed a bond that we didn't have 4 years ago. But I think this is actually going to end up being a good thing because we're going to come in, we're going to save America. We're going to show everybody how great things can be. And we're probably, we may never have another Democrat president again. And that'll be a good thing. That'll be a good thing because people are going to be so much winning. You're going to get tired of winning, as Trump would say. And I'm going to tell you, you never get tired of winning. You never get tired of winning. Because you're going to be able to look back at the last 4 years and remember what losing was like. You're going to remember what being an American was almost embarrassing. You're going to remember what these last 4 years felt like when they had these trans nut jobs all up in the White House, all up on your TVs, all up in your videos. If you don't want that, come over to MAGA. Come over to MAGA. Trump is the Suge Knight of politics. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they're the P. Diddy of politics, all up in your videos. So I think we're on the verge of an American renaissance as long as there's no election night shenanigans to prevent us from getting there in 12 days. Let's check out some of your comments here online. I see a bunch of them popping up. My buddy Roger says he's going to bring us by a charcuterie board from Country Pleasing for the election night coverage. I like it. Steven says Steven Crowder is doing a huge election night coverage with the people on the ground in swing states. Yeah, I'll be watching some of Crowder's stuff here from the studio too. I'm sure we'll weave some of that into our coverage. Steven does a great job. I watched his last time around. Whitney says Kamala has no plan. She's been a VP for 4 years, and it's been 4 years of America last. Yeah, I'm still waiting on somebody in the comments or on the phone line here, the Mazda Jackson phone line, to call in and tell me one thing that the Democrats are doing, one Democrat policy that is America first, not America last. I think I said this during the commercial break when we were talking online. I went and voted yesterday. I did the absentee voting because I'm not going to be in town that day. I'm going to be out here for 24 straight hours in Florida. And it came up for Michael Guest and for Roger Wicker. Both are running unopposed, I believe. I know Guest is. I think Wicker's running unopposed. I didn't vote for either one of them. I filled in, I wrote in a name for both of them. 2 different names, by the way. And you're like, well, Clay, how could you do that? Well, simple. I think Roger Wicker is a war hawk, and I don't appreciate all the money that we keep sending to Ukraine. I don't appreciate him talking about nuking Russia and trying to get us into a nuclear war. And Michael Guest basically cost me about $6,000 a month by voting to ban TikTok. So, yeah, I voted with my pocketbook, like I think most Americans do. I voted with my pocketbook, and I did not vote for Michael Guest. And I don't care what bridges that burns for me in Rankin County. I don't care what bridges that burns for me politically here in the state. I voted with my pocketbook because Michael Guest voted against my pocketbook when he decided to vote for to ban TikTok. So Clay did something for Clay. just like Michael Guest did something for Michael Guest. Roger Wicker's a nice guy. I've met Roger Wicker before, but also think Roger Wicker wants to get us into a war to satisfy his donors, his military industrial complex donors. And I ain't about that life. Brittany says, I was watching TV last night waiting on Gutfield to come on. I saw on CNN where Camel Toe was having a town hall. I only caught the last few questions, but the people in Anderson Cooper was giving her. Well, unfortunately, I missed the rest of your comment there. Yeah, CNN tapped out on Kamala. We played that clip earlier. CNN, even Dana Bash said whatever she was trying to do tonight, she did not land the plane. It did not hit home. She basically did a terrible job at that town hall. Paxton, I'm going to read your comment here. I know it's long, but let's see. Says, now who does this bring to mind? Fascism is far right, authoritarian, and ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement. Hey, I am an ultra-nationalist. We say that like it's a bad thing. I am, in fact, an ultra-nationalist. Super-duper nationalist. I put America first, everybody else last. I do not care about the rest of the world. Sorry, not sorry. America first, everybody else last. They hate us because they ain't us. If you ain't first, you're last. America first. Not going to apologize for it, ever. Everybody's welcome here. Come in legally. Come in legally, like Sean's family did, like Sean's dad did, like so many other great immigrant families have come here legally, and I'll be your best friend. Hell, I'll even try to learn your language so I can be your friend if English ain't your first language. You know, real talk. Jonathan says it's 12 days to the election. Caller, try to stay on hold. I'll come back to you. We'll be right back to land the plane for the day here on WYAB. All right, online guys. Appreciate y'all watching today. We're going to come back and we'll have about a minute left. So I'm going to land the plane here and say goodbye to the radio audience when we come back. I appreciate everybody. I'll dive into these comments here later today, maybe. Try to do some responding. Y'all hit that share button, man. Get this out to everybody. And be sure to visit the website, buyfafo.com, buyfafo.com. Grab a hoodie or a T-shirt today from your boy. I appreciate all the support. Thank you all. Y'all have a great day out there in internet land. Keep fighting. Fight, fight, fight.